Welcome to Bahati, talking about real issues that are affecting you as an individual. Insights about financial and personal growth, plus better relationships. And now, Bahati.
Life is good, okay, and I hope that you know that it is good. I know that there's so many things that we go through in life cause us to doubt and to second guess and to be stressed about life. But again, where there is life, there is hope. There is hope for growth, there is hope for improvement, there is hope for wealth, and there is hope for spiritual growth, there is hope for emotional growth, and so many things in life. So welcome to this beautiful episode where we get to talk about life, where we get to talk about how to advance ourselves. Remember, you and I are trailblazers that have committed their lives and given their lives every day to personal growth, number one, but not just stopping at personal growth, but also transforming the lives of others, that after we are strengthened, we will go ahead and strengthen other people. That is my prayer. Well, I'm not giving you this, or we're not sharing these things so that you can be a reservoir. You just take in and keep. Otherwise, you will explode. No, we are taking in as much as we can so we can be able to give, to become the rivers of flowing water, to become, the givers of life to the rest of the world, okay? And while we are at that, remember, Deliberately Selfish and Tears on My Pillow are back in stock at Media Plaza, Kamocha Media Plaza, third floor. Make sure that you get your copy. Now, when you come to Media Plaza, third floor, you buy it at 50,000, and I will give you a cheat code as well. If you come to the coach experience that happens every first Friday of the month, you get this book at 30,000. How good is that? So I've given you a cheat code. Media Plaza, 50,000. When you come for the coach experience, every first Friday of the month at Thobani Center, second floor, we usually sell it at 30,000, okay? So that's the community that we are building. And remember, Trailblazers is out. Trailblazers is a beautiful, I call it a loaded journey, a prayer journey, a scheduling journey, and a business workbook. That is something that I don't think you have seen anywhere that has all these components. This is a daily prayer that I committed myself to pray for you, to pray for your business, to pray for your prosperity, that even when you are a change agent, even when you're a change maker and a world changer and a gladiator, you are supposed to earn from your work, okay? And that is why we have the business workbook. We have a business book, a whole book that I put in here about business that you can not miss, and it's the indisputable laws of entrepreneurship. I know that this is going to be very beneficial. The schedule and the prayers, this is something that is going to be mind-blowing, and it's going to propel your business into a zone of profit. So I hope that you can be able to get yourself a copy. Another cheat code: when you come to just buy it, you buy it at 70,000. When you come to the coach experience, that is the first Friday of every month, we sell it at 50. And the rest of the community, all the gladiators, all the change makers, and all those that are on the mentorship, are in the business mastermind, they buy it at 50,000. So I've given you the cheat codes. Make sure that you use them. Welcome. And so this episode is actually powered by these beautiful books because we want to renew our mindsets. We want to be able to change so many things in our lives. And today I just have one word that we're going to hinge the whole talk around, and that word is think, okay? Think. This is very vivid for me because, yes, I know that we think a lot and our thoughts tend to take us more into the negatives, where there is stress, where there is depression. We're thinking about the economy. We're thinking about the businesses that are not working out. We're thinking about the marriages that are not working out. We're thinking about so many things. But again, when you look at your thought process and your mindset, it's the biggest tool that you can use to actually transform your life. So you realize that if your your thinking is stinking, or if your thinking is bad, that means so are you. So is your business, so is your marriage, so are you. I mean, everything else that you touch. So that means that there is this one component in our lives that we can change, that we can transform. And guess what? When you transform it, everything else around you actually transforms. I was actually looking at mindset and asking myself, what is actually a mindset? And I was reading here, and it says that it's a series of self-perceptions or beliefs people hold about themselves. The beliefs that you hold about you. Now, do you see how important it is? Because whatever you hold about yourself is how you show up in the world, is how you show up in your marriage, is how you show up for your work, is how you show up for your for even your subordinates, is how you show up in every single. Remember, these are beliefs. They are internal. They are inside of you, but they determine your behavior. They determine how you show up. They determine your level of success, your level of significance. They determine everything, pretty much everything in your life. And it goes ahead to say that this determine behavior, outlook, mental attitude, for example, believing you are either intelligent or unintelligent. So you realize that what you believe tends to dominate everything. It colors. We've talked about attitude before, and we say that attitude is a difference maker, and we say that attitude can actually make your day vibrant, or it can make your day dull, and it's a choice that you have to make. That means that even our thoughts are in our we are in position to change or to transform or to elevate or to actually bring down whatever it is when it comes to our thoughts. So that means we have a right to actually change. We have a right to elevate. And I was looking at something else here that talks about mindset. And you know, when you talk about mindset, mindset is something that it can be fixed, or you can have a growth mindset. I think most of you have seen some of these memes going around, or memes going around, that someone has a fixed mindset and someone has a growth mindset. And when you talk about a mindset, that means it can be transformed, it can form habits, it can create experiences, it can be developed, it can be shaped. And when it is shaped, whether it's shaped or not shaped, it actually shapes your world, okay? It shapes our lives, and then it is self-deceptive sometimes because it's internal. It has its own thought processes. It's self-deceptive, and then it can create blind spots, and then it can create the experiences that we talked about. And so you realize that this is something, it's like an engine that is inside of us that is pushing out so many things, that is pushing out our outlook, our attitude, how we shape the world, how we see the world, how we respond to the world, how we react to the world. That means this is the one most powerful thing that we have. We've talked about so many things. We've talked about consistency, we've talked about resilience, we've talked about procrastination, we've talked about beliefs, we've talked about, but you realize that everything that we have talked about has its roots back in the mindset, back in the way we think, because as a man thinks, so he is. And I think that is somewhere in Proverbs, in Proverbs, where he says that, for as he thinks in his heart, so he is. Okay, so that means you cannot be so different from your thoughts. You are one and the same. How you think is how you are. How you think is how you show up. How you think, so that means if your thinking is rotten, if your thinking is bad, if your thinking is, and that is the mindset. Because what is a mindset without thoughts? What is a mindset without thinking? Okay, what is the mindset without the mind? The mind is where we think, okay, where things happen. It's the engine that drives us, that causes us to either procrastinate or be consistent, either to show up or to neglect ourselves. So all those things are in the mind. And I just felt I needed to give that background before we even dive into what I want us to actually talk about today, and that is mainly your thinking. One thing that I had very vividly while I was actually looking through this and thinking about this, and I was thinking, how did I actually get to where I am? All those footsteps and the decisions, the tiny decisions that I have made in my life. And I got to understand that when my mindset broke even or broke through, When my mindset sought for advancement, my body came with it, my thoughts came with it, my everything came with it, because my mind was not content, and it was saying, you know what, we can stay here. You remember that prayer that I made and that I made about my life, and I said, I will never be broke and broken again. That was my mind getting tired. And when my mind got tired and my thoughts got tired, because I had thought about where to get food, I had thought about all the stressing things, I had thought about where the rent would come from, I had thought about where the tuition would come from, I had thought about all those things, and they were stressing me again and again and again. And so many of us, this is what happens. We live in a perpetual limbo of thinking ourselves into a depression. Now, there are so many people that think themselves into a depression, and there are so many people that get tired of the cycle, because the cycle is in our power. We can be able to break the cycle. You can break the cycle of your mindset, and you can be able to choose a totally different mindset. That means we have a choice to make here, and a choice to make that we will vividly transform our mindsets, that we will vividly transform our thinking to not conform it to the standards of the world. But before we even come back to that, you cannot change your life by changing your life. You know, sometimes we think that I can change my life by changing how I put on, by changing. I think you've seen those topical, I think I will call them topical, you know, like the topical application of something like you have put on. It's like you're saying, I will change my skin color by applying something, or I will change my, I will heal the rash by applying something. That is topical. But there is when you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you that I'm going to give you both, especially if it's about the rash, and they're like, okay, I'm going to give you the topical application, but I'm also going to give you the internal. Maybe it's what is antibiotics or something like that, but they will give you something that will heal you from inside out. Now, so many of us are trying to heal from outside, okay? And this is what we are doing. We are changing men. Okay, you're changing the men in your lives, and you're thinking, I am going to change my life by changing my life. And you are busy. You are on a fast lane. Like you are just having the fun of your life, thinking you're actually going to get anywhere in this. And then we're thinking, oh, I'm going to change my life by changing my church. Yeah, I think you have seen that happen. Oh, I'm going to change my life by changing my job. And then we have hopped from job to job. I'm going to change my life by changing the place I stay. Maybe the vicinity, the locality, or maybe the apartment I stay in, and then you have changed apartments to another apartment. Maybe I'm going to change the way some of us, and let me come to you, the women. Oh, I'm going to change my life by buying this nice piece of hair, and then my life is going to be changed. My goodness, woe unto you, because that is not change. You cannot change your life by changing your life. You can't. Okay? I'm going to buy nice clothes, I'm going to buy colorful clothes, and when I buy colorful clothes, my life will be changed. You know, and then this is what some of us are pressing pause buttons on our lives and saying, oh, I'm going to live a good life when I get this kind of gadget. You know, when I get this phone, when I buy this car, when I marry, so we want to change our lives by changing our lives. And that's what it means. Even in business, you say, maybe I'll change location and I will go to another location. You want to change your business by changing location. And that's not going that's not going to happen. For as long as your systems are down, for as long as your understanding of profitability are down, for as long as your understanding of sales and marketing, of digital marketing, of social media enhancement and usage, for as long as all those are dead, yes, you can go to a place that is strategic. But let me tell you, some people don't even have a strategic place to begin with. They have their merchandise in their car, but they are selling day in, day out because they mastered the art of selling. They mastered the art of digital marketing. So you realize that it has to be, because knowledge is internal. Taking in, it's a process. You take in the knowledge, you ooze the knowledge, you apply the knowledge, and wisdom helps you to apply the knowledge. So if you say, I want to change my business, that means there are things that you're going to change that are internal, and they are going to show the external results. So even your life, you cannot change your life by changing your life. I want that to sink in. I want you to understand that. I want you to understand that even if you got the biggest house in the world, even if you got the best mansion in the world, for as long as your mindset is not changed, for as long as your thinking is not changed, you are just, I mean, a rat is a rat. Whether it's in Uganda, whether it's in the US, it's a rat, okay? You'll still be poor, whether in Uganda, whether you go to the US, for as long as there is no renewal of your mindset, for as long as there is no changing of your mindset, for as long as there is no renovation of your thinking. And we will get to that, because I call it a complete renovation that you need to actually do, a 360 renovation in your life. So you cannot change your life by changing your life. Sometimes we're thinking, oh, if I change my network, I'm going to change. And then we usually say, your network is your net worth. Okay, so your network is your net worth. Does not work because it's a topical application of the principle. But the principle has to be applied in the ingredient, the core ingredient that is in your mind, that is your mindset, that is you, that by the time you go to network, by the time you show up in a better group, that you can be able to use the wisdom to extract anything that you need to be able to gain from that kind of network. But if you take the you that is not transformed, the you that is not changed, even if whatever president of the world or the highest people or the richest people are your friends in the world, you will still remain who you are, and they will remain who they are, and it will change nothing. Why? Because your mind is still stuck. It is still in the same position. It is not renewed. It is not renovated. It is not, your thinking is stinking. Okay? Your thinking is just low. It has low vibration. You have to change your level of vibration. And you don't change your level of vibration by just changing from one state to another, or from one district to another, or from one country to another. No, from one network to another. Oh, that circle of friends is not beneficial. Do you see those things? And we should be very careful about the things that we hear, because that is why we are here to share this knowledge. You know, when they tell you that, you know what, if you're in the circle of friends and then you are the one that is the most knowledgeable, you're the one that is wiser than all of them, please change your circle of friends. Yes, it has a degree of helping, but the degree to which it will help you, okay, depends on how much transformation your mind goes through, how much renovation your thinking goes through. Because again, even when you go to another circle of richer people, of wealthier people, of wiser people, if you go with the same kind of small mindset, do you remember the mindset of the children of Israel when they went to go and spy on the land, and they called themselves the grasshoppers? That is the mindset, that is your thinking, that is the belief. Remember, we talked about it is the perception, and it affects your attitude. It affects, how you fight. It affects your resilience. It affects how you show up in the world. So when they saw themselves, and there is a way we tend to magnify the bad things, or when our mindset is weak and our thinking is weak, we magnify the opponent, or we magnify the other things, and we tend to see how they have the 6 fingers and they have the 6 feet, and they are, they are the tallest, they are the biggest, and we are going to be swallowed. Why? Because our mind has not been renewed. I was just reading somewhere and says that wisdom is way better than strength. Okay, and that means we don't use strength to renew our minds. We use wisdom. We use knowledge to renew, to renovate our minds. Okay, so you cannot change. I want you to look at everything that is happening in your life. You cannot change your life by changing your life. However, you can change your life by changing your mind. So that means you don't need to move an inch. You don't need to move to leave your job in order to change your life. You don't need to leave your marriage in order to change your life. You don't need to leave your country in order to change your life. You can change your life for as long as you can change your mind, and for as long as your mind can perceive it. Even when the rest of your life looks different, you are getting out. You are getting out, you know, for as long as your mind has been renewed. Even when you smell and look like poverty, believe me, the most crucial part of your life is out. So if the most crucial part of your life is out, then you are out. And that's actually when I look at my life and what happened when I made that covenant, for me, that was at the breaking point. That was the rock bottom. You know, when you hit the rock bottom, you sit and you're like, you know what? In order for me to change, certain things have to change. And my mind needs to change. And I renewed my mind when I said, I will never be broke and ever broken. I will never be broken and broke ever in my life. Now, that was the beginning of my transformation. That was the beginning of the renewing of my mind. That means there were mindsets that I was stuck to. You know, as a woman, I am supposed to be this soft, and I am supposed to be, even when it comes to the work arena, even when it comes to being ambitious, even when it comes to be, now those thoughts came off me there, and then there was a renovation in my mind. And I was like, I'm a woman, I fend for myself, I fight for myself, I go out there, I work, I make the money. And so I transformed my life from just being a mere woman, a mere girl that was in a beautiful body and a mere girl that handled things softly, to a mere mind that asked herself, what do I need to do today in order to make my future better? And so I knew I needed to work. I knew I needed to make money. I knew I needed to find my passion and practice my passion. So do you see how the scales are falling off my life? Why? Because my mind has been transformed. My mind is going. Even when I still put on the same dresses, even when I still stayed in the same car house, in the same car room, with the same bed, with the same carpet, with the same saucepans that did not have food in them, with the same minimal rent, with the same, you know, bathing in an outside bathroom, I was still the same girl in the same location, in the same everything. But my mind was changed. My mind was tired. My mind was fed up. My mind had decided that, you know what, we are going. We don't mind whether the feet are not going to follow us, but we are going. And let me tell you, when my mind was out, I was out. Because after that, I've literally had this conversation with Tim so many times, and literally counting the houses that I have gone through or the places I have stayed, and, you know, and I'm like, you know what, when your mind renews or is renewed and you do not conform to this age, or you do not conform, because I could have conformed to the girls my age. I could have conformed to, you know, the girls that think I should get a rich man, I should get married, and then my life will change. I told you, you do not change your life by changing your life. You change your life by changing your mind. You don't change your life, if you're a gentleman, by marrying a rich woman. No, that is not change. That is not, you can't change your life like that. Actually, that is a demotion for you. No. If you want to change your mind, you change your mindset, okay? And so after that, one thing after another begins opening, because the magnitude of the transformation also goes on expanding. That who I was is not who I am. What I consumed is not what I am consuming. The knowledge I had is not the knowledge I have. The wisdom I had is not the wisdom I have. The strength I had is not, and the level of being fed up is not the same level that I had. So now that means I am starting a growth journey, a growth mindset. I am addressing my blind spots. I am shaping my life. That means I have known that now it is in my hands. So if I'm going to get Bagwita Mwiko in Luganda, the one that they use to do the sand and the cement. So if I am going to reconstruct my life and renovate my life, I'm going to be at the forefront of renovating my life. Now, God is going to help me. God is going to change me. I'm going to be transformed according to His word and renewed according to His word. But there's a part I must play: the acceptance, the stepping on, the stepping to onto the duty, the plate, the coming on, the showing up. Okay, the consistency. That is my part to play. Otherwise, God is not going to find me under the bed to bless me. He's not going to find me, you know, drinking myself silly to bless me. He's not going to find me, going about, doing all weird things in order to bless me. I must panobit myself back into the line and be able to start the transformational journey. It's not an easy journey, but just like I said, you begin by transforming your mind. Once your head is out, once your head is out, if your head gets tired of poverty, you'll be out of the poverty. If your head gets tired, whatever it is, for those of you that have a dream of transitioning into full-time your purpose, you've been doing your job, but you've been doing your job alongside your purpose. And at some point you're like, okay, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 3 years, maybe in 2 years, I am going to transition from being employed to my passion and practice my passion full-time. Let me tell you, the day your head will get tired, your mind will get tired, you will transition without, as in no one will push you, no one will entice you, no one will pep talk you, nothing. The moment you get tired, you'll be out. Okay, so I need us to be able to frame or to get into that mind. And you know that when God says that his word does not return to him void, that means when he speaks, everything is bound to happen. But that means he works with a transformed mind. He does not work with a stagnant mind. Okay, he does not work with a mind that has given up or thrown in a towel. Yes, he's a God that will get you out of that place. He will restore your hope. He will he will do all those things, but he'll still require of you to do certain things, or he will need you to do certain things. So that means we go back to him with his word, but when we are in alignment and when we have the renewed minds and the acceleration happens, the collaboration happens, the partnership between us and God happens, and everything actually falls in place. Okay, so I need you to be able to exit certain things, the things that we've talked about, that you cannot change your life by changing your life, to exit certain things, okay, where your mindset is not flourishing, where your mindset is not thriving, where your mindset is not growing, where there is no renovation of your mindset or change of your mindset. And before we even go through the break, because I believe that after the break, I want us to break down the renovation and then to break down also what we gain from renewing our minds. Because you will tell me, but when I renew my mind, what exactly will I want us to talk about those benefits. I want us to talk about the process of renovating and demolishing certain things in our lives. Because when you talk about renovation, you don't renovate without demolishing. Sometimes you need to break, and some places you need to fresh paint, and some places you just need decoration, and some places, so that means that there are different parts of our lives. Some of them need demolishing, some of them need a fresh paint, some of them need just decorating, some of them need, just the ambience, to create the ambience. So I want us to look at those different parts of our lives, but the renewal of your mind is the beginning of your prosperity, is the beginning of your success, is the beginning of your happy marriage, is the beginning of happy children, is the beginning of you being happy and happy and happy and happy. And I hope that we are together and we are taking in as much as we can so we can be able to apply it in our lives. So don't go away, we're still going.
Spirit TV, a place for you.
Did you know that you can acquire a skill in less than 3 months? Dynamic Media School skills you in TV and radio presenting, motion graphics, graphics designing, control room management, show production, audio production, confidence building, lighting and videography, personal branding, social media management, cinematography, video editing, marketing and sales, and effective communication. This is designed to provide practical skills and hands-on experience with the focus on developing critical thinking, research, and communication skills. You will have access to high-quality learning materials, including online lectures and other resources, as well as a dedicated team of facilitators and influencers who are available to assist you with any questions or concerns that you might have. Enroll today. Call 0702 021 834 or WhatsApp 0760 881 331. Dynamic Media School is an excellent choice for anyone looking to start or advance their career in this exciting and dynamic field. You don't get the life that you deserve but that which you decide. It's time for you to decide to dominate your life. You don't do that by just having passion, you need a plan. Let's show you how you grow practically in character, competence, and in other areas of life. Welcome back to Bahati.
Welcome, welcome. There are certain decisions that we make because our mind has been renewed. And I was just thinking about that and I laughed to myself. You know, when we read that scripture that says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. There are places where you come to and you just have to, the renewed mindset, like it's a sense of exit. It's a sense of, I'm out, okay? As for me and my house, we will. If you guys are choosing to serve other gods, if you guys, as for me and my house. Now, time comes where you just have to make your own decision, not decision based on what others are doing, not because when you talk about conforming, okay, when you talk about conforming, let's just briefly read that, because I hope that it will actually give us, that is why I'm actually doing this, okay. When you talk about, that is 12:2, it says that do not be conformed to this world or this age, fashioned after or adapted to its external superficial customs, external superficial customs. Remember when I was linking this to, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That means there were others that had decided. That means the world can choose otherwise, okay? Your friends can choose otherwise. Your leaders can choose otherwise. Everything around you can choose otherwise. But there comes a time where your mind just chooses to exit, to get out and say that, you know what, as for me and my house, I am choosing a partnership with God. I am choosing a partnership to advance. I am choosing a partnership for more knowledge. I'm choosing a partnership for more wisdom. I'm choosing to get out, to exit. Because I told you, once your mind, and you know, it takes me back to deliberately selfish. You cannot practice deliberately selfish lifestyle without your mind being renewed, okay? Because without your mind being renewed, you are subject to people pleasing, and that is conformity. That is conforming to the standards, to this age, to, you know, fashioned after and adapting, where we say yes to things that we didn't want to say yes to, but you're saying yes because you're a people pleaser. You say yes because you don't want to hurt people. You say yes because you want to look like everyone else. You don't want to stand out. You don't want to look different because everyone shuns away from something that is different, okay? And it says that, so the superficial customs, and be transformed or changed by the entire renewal of your mind, by its new ideas and its new attitudes. Remember, we talked about attitudes and we talked about ideas, so that you may prove for yourself what is good and what is acceptable. That means no one chooses for you. No one decides for you. It's not a bandwagon thing. It's not because others are doing that I am going to do, but I am going to exit, I am going to get out, and I am going to choose my own path, okay? I'm not going to adapt. No, I am not going to be shaped by the standards of the world. I'm not going to be shaped by the superficial standards, by the external standards. No, I have a choice to make, to renew my mind, to renew my thinking, to renovate my thinking, to break down certain things, because some of these things have been formulated by our bringing, by the people who brought us up. Our perceptions have been formed or forged by the environments we have grown in, the schools that we have gone to, the workplaces that we have gone to, the churches that we have gone to, prayer places that we have gone to. So our mindsets have been formed by so many things, have been forged by so many things, external forces, by the superficial customs of the world. They have been forged by that. But now when it says that, be ye transformed and changed by the entire renewal. That means you don't just renew a bit, 30%, 40%. Yes, it's the beginning, but go all the way and revamp your life by renewing of your renewal of your mind by its new ideas and its new attitudes, so that you may prove for yourself what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. That does not have to be known by anyone else in the world. You just have to know it for yourself, okay? Remember, we talked about, it could be in your finances. And it could be in your relationship, it could be in your mental health, it could be in so many areas of your life, child upbringing, it could be in your business, it could be in your coaching business, it could be, as in I know I'm speaking to so many leaders, trailblazers, people that are willing to help other people. Now, once you're not out, no one is coming out. If you're not transformed, no one is transformed. If your mind cannot be transformed, you cannot help transform another mind. If your thinking is not transformed, no one else's thinking is going to be transformed. So I want us, if we're going to be transformational people, this transformation has to happen to us before it happens to others, so that we can show up as transformed beings, so that we can show up as transformed people, okay? And sometimes, just like we say, that do not be conformed to the patterns of the world. Renewal means, just like I said, to renovate, to replace old ways of thinking with new ways of thinking, or to upgrade to new ways of thinking, or to demolish the old ways of thinking. What have you been thinking about? Okay, your self-perception. What have you been looking at yourself as? Some of us think, I am done. I will never amount to anything. I will never be anything. And even when people talk about success, you feel like that is not mine. And sometimes it's subconscious. We don't know that we are denying ourselves of the chance to actually have some of these things. Even when they invite you feel you need like special invitation. You don't feel like you are, you don't feel like showing up, because then you think, I think they called specific people. I don't think I deserve to actually show up. I don't think so. We belittle ourselves because of so many things that have gone on in our minds. But remember, if we say that as a man thinketh, as a man thinks, so he is. That means that whatever you think of yourself, that is who you are. You are small, you are incapacitated, you can never amount to anything, you can never be successful, you can never be significant, you can never be anything. And that is why, because our minds, how we live our lives, we live our minds in the subconscious minds. Whatever we exude, whatever we do, that means we are feeding off the subconscious mind. So if our subconscious mind is filled with those thoughts, is filled with those mindsets, that means that is how we show up, okay? That means you're not going to show up for that conference because you feel you don't deserve it. Maybe it's for specific people. They call out people to sign up for a certain course, like the course that we do in the accelerated mentorship, certifying the coaches. And then you're like, oh, but who am I? Can I even be one? I've had so many people who have signed on for the course and they didn't believe that they can be coaches or they can be speakers. And they sometimes, even when you don't know what to speak about, even when you don't know your calling, because the use of the course, the use of this program is to actually unveil who you are and be able to inform you of who you are and what you can do different. So we don't qualify anyone. That is why we are not saying, okay, come with these kind of credentials. I usually tell people desire is the number one thing that you must have. If you want to be in the people transformation kind of, sphere, it has to be the desire to help other people, the desire to hold their hands. So you realize that some people, the people that should have changed their lives maybe 5 years ago have not changed their lives, and maybe they are going to sign on 10 years to come or 5 years to come or even next year, and they are late. Why? Because they berated themselves because of the self-perception, the mindset, the wrong mindsets, the wrong thinking, because as they think that is who they are. So if you think that you are poor, yes, you are poor. If you think you are ugly, yes, you are ugly. If you think you are nothing, yes, you are nothing. If you think as in everything you think, that is who you are. Everything your mindset feeds you with, that is who you are. So if we talk about demolishing, we are going to those specific places that we don't want, and we are saying, you know what, we are demolishing this these kinds of walls. I shared some time back, we've been going through a process where we've been, demolishing and reconstructing, and we were building some Airbnb, and it had walls that we didn't want, and because for those of you that know the kind of buildings, the American way of building is totally different from the British way of building. Britons love walls, a lot of walls. They will have walls nearly everywhere, corridors and what and what and what. Americans, they just love their, you know, studio houses. They just love their chance. So I wanted to do an Airbnb that had that much space and didn't have so many walls and stuff. So I went through a moment of demolishing, and I marked every wall that we did not want. And we're like, okay, and it looks totally different from how we found it and how we purchased it and how we have flipped it totally to be a totally different kind of property, to elevate its brand, to elevate its monetary value, to elevate how it looks and everything else. But that took demolishing. That we earmarked every wall that we did not want. We earmarked where the extensions were supposed to be made. We earmarked that the bathrooms were small and everything else, and we wanted to expand them and, you know, just make them so spacious, and, you know, the wardrobes and, you know, everything, the walk-in wardrobes and all that. And so we had to earmark everything. It was a lot of work. If you saw it, and if I displayed pictures of how it looked like during the demolishing, but because we wanted it to have a renewed standard, to have a renewed value. Let me tell you, when you demolish certain things, it's not just demolishing. In the process, it looks ugly. When you are changing your mind, sometimes it looks ugly. It looks like crying. It looks like fasting. It looks like prayer. It looks like reading. It looks like signing up for courses. It looks like, you know, having sessions. It looks like having mentors. It looks like having coaches. It looks like working extra hard. It looks like, as in, it looks ugly. In the process of building, in the process of dismantling the things that you do not want, the beliefs that you do not want, the habits that you do not want, that looks ugly, okay? But remember, earmark every wall that you do not want in your life. Earmark every wall. Is it procrastination? Is it, as in, what don't you want in your life? Earmark it, okay? And after marking it, that means you go through a process of demolition. And while you are demolishing, when you demolish, you do not demolish everything. You do not put down everything. Certain structures remain in place so that you can start on those to be able to actually build. Whatever you need to put down totally, put down. Whatever you need to leave in place to start on, make sure that you live on that, and you're like, okay, my knowledge of God, I need it. My knowledge of this, I need it. My authenticity, I need it. I'm not losing this, I am not losing it, but this is going. Procrastination is going, laziness is going, bad habits are going, drinking is going, you know, womanizing is going, you know, everything else that I do not want, sexual addictions are going. Earmark everything that you need gone and start the demolition, okay? And start breaking of the walls. And let me tell you, if I can use the vivid example of the reconstruction. After the demolition, definitely you go through the building. Still, it does not look good, okay? There's a lot of work there. I mean, the bricks are still out there. There's a lot of sand everywhere. There's a lot of cement everywhere. There's a lot of workers everywhere. Someone has a hammer. Someone is pulling out a window. Someone is now covering the window space because you didn't want that window in that place and you want the window in a different place. And so it's a chaotic, okay? But remember that before the transformation, it was ugly. Before even the breaking down, it was ugly. It was empty. And some of us feel like that we are empty, we are ugly, we are in a chaotic moment, we are everything. Even when we begin to build, yes, the chaos is going to be there. But the chaos, it's a beautiful mess. The beautiful mess, because it's going to transform into something else that is going to be so beautiful, okay? So even the renewing of the mind is like that. You demolish, you get, before that you felt empty. Some of you, I'm talking to you right now, and you feel a sense of emptiness. You feel a sense of confusion. You feel a sense of chaos. You feel a sense of you are lost. You feel like you do not belong. You don't know who you are. And that is the feeling that you want to walk away from. But that feeling demands that you renew your mind. And renewal means renovation. And renovation means taking in of knowledge, means taking in of wisdom, means having a mentor, means having a coach, means reading the Bible, means having a prayer time, means attending fellowship. It can mean, it can mean having a good talk with your spouse and going back to the foundations. How do you want this marriage to be? Maybe you had run on autopilot for so long, but if you can renew your mind, your marriage is never going to be renewed if your mind is not renewed. It cannot be the same you that has done all those things or that has walked that journey, and all of a sudden you want to have a happier marriage and you think it's just going to be a switch. No, it's not going to be a switch. It's going to be work. It's going to be demolition of bad habits. It's going to be demolition of bad timings. It's going to be demolition of pride. And then it's going to be reconstruction of good communication, effective communication, of love, of extending grace to one another, of accepting each other, of building loyalty, of building respect, of building. So you realize that building is not easy, but we are building nice things. We are building good things. We are building. Right now, when I show you the picture of the structure, as far as east is from the west, is how the structure or the Airbnb looks from what it was during the purchase, during the buying. From ugly, from confusion, from emptiness, from lostness, from low value to high value, to useful, to good, sweet ambience, to good walls, to, as in, tonight. Why? Because we had to go through a moment. And let me tell you, that moment of building and reconstruction is costly. And this is where I will also talk to you about that, because you need to invest in yourself, time, to invest in yourself energy, and to invest in yourself resources. And resources can mean money. Resources can mean materials. Resources can mean, but you have to be willing, because you cannot just turn like this and you're like, okay, because we love doing those things on Instagram, and when someone shows you the ugly part and all of a sudden snaps a finger and the good part comes. That's not what happens in our lives, okay? That's not what happens. Transformation is work. Transformation must be invested. We invest in transformation. We invest our time, we invest our energy, we invest our resources, okay? So if you've been the kind that, I want free things, you know, on internet there are free things, my friend. If you want free things are not taking you anywhere. Free things will give you the general knowledge. Free things will give you the general wisdom. Do you want specific knowledge? Like the people that are in the business mastermind that we meet every Friday and talk about business, talk about how to elevate, talk about how to go about ourselves. Now that is very specific, because you want something specific. You don't want what everyone has, what the whole world has, because you are a specific individual. You are authentic, you are different, you are special. So you want something specific in order to take you to a different dimension, to add value to yourself, okay? So if that is the value that you need, sometimes you need to demolish friendships. Yeah. Sometimes you need to demolish the beliefs that you hold about work. Then sometimes you need to demolish the beliefs that you hold about marriage. Sometimes you need to demolish relationships that are no longer adding into your life, okay? Relationships that are not just toxic, but relationships that do not respect boundaries. Could be friendships, okay? And you need to demolish those. And sometimes you just need to be able to reconstruct your muscle, to be able to set boundaries, because people are not just crossing your boundaries because for the love of crossing boundaries, but they are crossing boundaries because you have not set proper boundaries. There is no demarcation, and there are no repercussions for crossing your boundaries. I want you to be able to ask yourself, where is my breakthrough at? Okay? Your breakthrough is on the other side of transformation. Your breakthrough is on the other side of change. Your breakthrough is on the other side of reconstruction. Your breakthrough is on the other side of demolition. Your breakthrough is on the other side of rebuilding, okay? And I hope that you know that, and know that it's going to take some time, but you are worth investing in. You invest in yourself the time, the energy, and the resources, and get onto whatever you need to get onto in order to move, okay, to the different places that you need to get through. And in case you have a question, or in case you still have doubts, I am living proof. I am living proof that it is possible. I am living proof that you can change your mind. I am living proof that you can transform your mind. I am living proof that you can transform your thinking, okay? And you can be a totally different person from who you are today. I am living proof. So if you're still second guessing yourself and saying, but those things are easier, it's easy to say them, it's easy. Let me tell you, where I come from, mess, confusion, emptiness, just like I have told you, the life that I lived before. Before that me saying yes, and that is another thing. You have to say yes to yourself. Okay? Because so many times we give ourselves no's because we feel we're not deserving, we feel we're not good enough, so we keep giving ourselves no's. You want to show up and then you turn it down. You want to dress well, then you turn it down. You want to go for that master's, and then you turn it down. You want to sign up for that course, and then you turn it down. And sometimes, I mean, I know it could be because of money, but let me tell you, the people that sign up for courses, there are people that have signed up for accelerated mentorship, and they didn't have a coin when they were signing up. And they were very honest and told me, you know what, I want this course, but every month I'm going to pay this amount of installment in order to finish this course. I am not willing to lose this time. And let me tell you, they are happy that they actually invested in it, because right now, most of them are earning. Right now, most of them they are paid to speak, they are paid for coaching, they are paid for being brand ambassadors, they are creating their own events. People are paying for those events. Some of them have reading clubs, and they are award-winning reading clubs where people are paying to subscribe to that reading club. They are making money, a lot more money that they invested in the course, but they said yes to themselves. Now, will you say yes to yourself? Yes to the renewal of your mind. Yes to the changing, to the altering of your thoughts. Yes, for as long as you can say yes. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have the money. You don't have to have, and saying yes to the different things in your life. Let me tell you, the moment your mind perceives that it's figure-outable, I can do this, the resources will follow. Why? Because your mind is the biggest tool. For as long as your mind thinks that yes, it's possible, it's going to be possible. That yes, I can finish this, yes, it's going to be finished. That yes, I can have a good marriage, yes, you're going to have a good marriage. But can you say yes to yourself? Can you say yes to yourself? Because even when it comes to property, I will take you back to property. Even when it comes to flipping of the property, you know, anyone else, it can be like 10 of us looking at the same property, and we will see different values, and we will see what we can't do and what we can do. And some people will actually say no. Maybe 9 people will say no. And they'll be like, you know what, this property, no, it's not worth it. I remember there's a person that we took to that property, a lady that we took to that property. Recently, Tim told me that, you know what, I want to bring this lady back to this property so that she can see how this property looks like. When we took her to the property, she was like, the value is not that much. And like, she really devalued it. And I remember us saying, you know what, no, that's her mind. Our mind is, we see a lot of value in this place, a lot of value in this place. So we're going to invest our time. We're going to, literally every time we'll come out of office, we'll run to the site to go and see, you know, what do we demolish, some of the things they can only break when you're around. So you realize that we said yes to the property. We said yes to the property, even when it looked the way it looked. I remember taking the first videos, and I was like, you know what? These videos are going to remind me about us saying yes to this property. And when we said yes to that property, we invested time, we invested energy, and we invested resources, okay? We would Google certain things. We would even, as in, how do we want this to look like? How do we want this to look like? That is all resources, that is time, that is energy to flip it to what it was. And we are like that. Even when you look at yourself and you are in a sorry state right now, and you are in a place where you don't understand yourself, you are stuck, you are confused, you don't know who you are anymore, say yes to yourself. Just say yes to yourself. And sometimes it doesn't need to be so much. Sometimes we think transformation happens when we hook onto expensive things, when we pay for expensive courses, when we pay. Just imagine, we created Hold My Hand as a membership. For those of you that have been in Hold My Hand, right now it's a membership, a full year membership, and very affordable. Money that you cannot even believe. That you pay for a full year, and you have personal growth sessions for a full year. Like, how easy is that? But you cannot even say yes to yourself to say, you know what, I want to get into a community that holds me accountable to my growth, that holds me accountable to my promises, that holds me accountable. And it doesn't have to be expensive. By the way, sometimes it can just take you going to YouTube and saying, you know what, I'm going to commit to personal growth, and I'm going to watch these videos, and because we put up free videos on YouTube. When you go to Bahati Hilda Sabiti, you can feast from January to December and I think for 5 straight years without getting done with that information. And that is something that is going to elevate your mindset. Can you say yes to yourself? Say yes to the renewal of your mind and the renewal of your thinking. And one word that I started with, think. Think about you, think about your thoughts, think about where you want to be, think about what you can do in order to get there. Think, and get in communities of people that think. I told you I am a living proof. You don't need to second guess yourself. The old version of me didn't have boundaries. The old version of me didn't have happiness. The old version of me didn't have what it took to have even a better family, because I'd come from a broken family. Maybe I would have lived the same, but I took matters into my own hands and said that, you know what? This mind has to be renewed. I got tired. I said yes to myself. And the more I said yes to myself, and until today I'm still saying yes to myself. And even when you find me 20 years from now, I'll still choose myself. I'll still say yes to myself. And I'll still demolish certain things, because growth is continuous. I have not arrived. I'm not about to arrive. And even 20 years from now, I will never have arrived. I'll still be learning new things. I will be sharper than I am today. Why? Because I continuously say yes to myself. Say yes to yourself and think. Renew your mind and renew your thoughts. I love you guys, and I hope that you can be able to hook up with our resources and the books, Tears on My Pillow, Deliberately Selfish. You can get it at Media Plaza. You can get it every first Friday of the month. We are at Thobani for the coach experience. Come through, let's learn, let's dive into the hard issues, let's get unstuck, and let's keep saying yes and yes and yes and yes to ourselves. Trailblazers journal, it's a personal prayer, it's a personal journal, and then it's a business workbook with notes in there. So make sure that you pick it up and make sure that you elevate your business. Get in the community. Accelerated Mentorship is signing on, and we have a discount for this month. So make sure that you get in touch with me. Come to my inbox and let me know if you want to sign on. I'm going to give you that discount, up to half discount. Now, I'm not going to disclose how much that is, but I know that it's a good deal. Make sure that you utilize it and get on. The business mastermind is on, and then Hold My Hand membership, full year membership is also on. Make sure that you get to our indexes and make sure that you let us thrive with you and hold your hand. We love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Bahati comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 p.m. here on Spirit TV. Bahati, bringing you knowledge, wisdom, financial and personal growth, better relationships leading to your transformation and elevation.